Welcome to Everybody Studios. This is Everybody in Charlotte, a series of 15-minute conversations highlighting the people of Charlotte making a difference. Dave Mason, welcome to Everybody Studios.
Thanks for having me in here.
Loved that you're here, man. Really excited to have you. I know some of what you do. I don't know all. I know what our mutual friends have told me, and they speak so incredibly highly of you that I'm honored that you're here.
Well, I hope I don't disappoint.
Yeah, I don't think you will. I don't think it might. A lot of this stuff might be over my head, but I'm anxious to learn. So, speaking of, how do we know each other?
Parker Williams introduced us.
Parker Williams.
Yeah, and said you two should probably get to know each other.
Right. Right. Which is exciting for me because he's told me a lot of the things you do, and it's like if he puts me with you, it's like, really, what am I doing that qualifies me to be paired with you? But I'm excited to see what we come up with. It does sound like we might do a little work together, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll create.
You built this place.
Create some
cool.
gold. I know. This is fun. All right. So we don't know each other really that well is kind of the answer. We have met, so let's get to know each other, man.
Yeah,
Where are you from?
Originally from Kansas. I grew up on the plains.
Yeah.
Grandparents were farmers, small town. That was just the way that I grew up. So
yeah,
I'm used to small town living.
Yep.
Everybody knows each other. And then ended up out here in Charlotte like 13 years ago.
From Kansas?
From Kansas.
Really? So you spent the majority of or a lot of your life out there?
Yeah, all the way through college. And then after college, came out here, got a job. My wife is from here.
Yeah.
That's just how it went.
Oh, I love it. No rhyme or reason, just here we are.
Here we are.
It's funny how I say, when I refer to Kansas, I say out there. And then you say, I moved out here. Like, what do you mean out?
It's always, that's how it is, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
it's over there.
Over there. Yeah.
It's not where I am.
Exactly.
Right. So what brought you to Charlotte?
My wife is from Charlotte. We met in college. And then she's from here after college. It's like, this girl's pretty cool. I'd like to see.
I like this girl.
I like where this is going. So, moved out here, got a job, just kind of kicked off life that way.
Yeah.
And then, worked for a little while and eventually found my way through life and ended up here. We're married, obviously, my wife, but we've lived over by South Park for a little while now. And
cool.
Yeah, just living life.
What college, by the way?
Kansas State.
Kansas State,
not Kansas,
not UK,
not the Jayhawks,
right?
Definitely
Is
the
it
Wildcats.
KU or UK? KU,
right?
Yeah,
Kansas, Kansas State.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Are they somewhat rivals?
A little bit,
big time.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. No, Kansas State. Your basketball coach used to be. God, what was that mean mug, dude? Do you follow
Frank Martin?
Frank Martin.
Oh yeah. He was
just the meanest.
He was fun.
Face,
he was great. He was the nicest guy.
Yeah, I know.
He's the
I heard
nicest guy.
I heard
that.
On
the court. Oh yeah, we would always
enjoy
the angry faces of Frank.
God, he was amazing.
He was a good coach.
Yeah,
he was a great coach. Put
totally.
Basketball back on the map for us. Beat KU a few times.
Yeah,
it was good. And now we've got Jerome Tang.
Yep.
Who's in as coach now, and first year trip to the Elite Eight. I mean.
It's big time.
He's doing it.
He's showing something.
He's doing it. Yeah.
I like it. Where's he from?
He was at Baylor for years.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Under Scott Drew, and now he's.
That's right.
Yeah, and we were able to bring him into Manhattan.
That's a big get.
Yeah, it was a big get.
That's exciting, man. I played basketball in college, and just that's my sport.
Yeah.
Football, golf, all those things I kind of watch. Basketball, I'm obsessed with.
That's Carolina, though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, we're pretty good at football this year, so we all kind of shift over there a little bit. We catch a lot of hell for that too. All right, so let's see. So your wife went to Kansas State, and
no, she went to Winthrop.
Oh, how'd you meet her out there?
We met doing this camp thing, working it in college.
Okay.
And it was this whole thing where part of the camp group would travel to places and the other part would be stationed in different cities, and our paths just crossed.
You met in summer camp?
Basically, yeah.
Was it summer? Or
it was summer, and we were in college. It wasn't like high school thing.
Right.
It wasn't
Sixth
super
grade.
weird. It was still kind of weird, but it's like, not super weird. You know,
Weird enough. Got
it's
it.
the story that we're always like, oh, yeah, here we go. We got to tell it. And then we get into it. And it's like, oh, I
I
know what it
love it.
sounds like,
Yeah.
but it's really, you know.
That sounds cute, Dave. It
Yeah,
sounds cute.
yeah. It's a charming story, I guess.
That's funny. I know a few people that met at camps, and there's always a little story there.
Look, if I said we met at work, people would be like, "Oh, that's
yeah,
great."
that's what
if I say
everybody
camp,
does.
and everybody's like, "Camp?" You know, the eyebrow raises a little bit. Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, off in the woods a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. Let's move on. So all right. So what do you think of when I say the hardest you've ever laughed?
Oh, the hardest I've ever laughed?
Obviously, there's multiple, and you can go anywhere you want with this. But what do you think of?
I think of a few times with my wife when we just get into something and we're literally just sitting there crying, laughing.
I love it.
Something.
Good relationship.
Yeah, whether it's a TV show or a situation, mostly situations.
Yeah.
We have a pretty good tendency to laugh some things off.
Love
that
it.
usually leads to a pretty hard laugh. Second would be my brother, Joey. We're probably best of friends, beyond just being brothers. But we've had some moments where we are both dying together. And oftentimes it revolves around, you know, man humor. But
Right.
it majority of those times it's because of a miscommunication. And so one of us tends to be laughing about one thing, the other's laughing about something else, thinking we're laughing about the same thing. And then when we realize we're laughing about something different, it escalates.
I got it.
So yeah, that's
so good.
That's definitely the close second.
I love these answers when I ask this question because it frequently enters this place where it's someone that you've known for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'll get somebody that, you know, is just like an experience or an event that was just so random and hilarious. But rarely is it that. Normally when I say, what do you think of? It's like, well, my best friend or somebody yesterday was like my twin sister, like somebody that you're so deeply connected to.
I wonder why that is. Is it like just, you know, you're able to just let your guard down, I guess, maybe a little bit more?
Well, I think that's partly it. I think for me, because it's the same answer for me. I have a best friend that I've known my whole life, and it doesn't take much, number one, but there's so much like history and context that
makes
like,
sense.
you know, for us, it's typically like we don't even have to say anything. Like often it's like we'll witness something and we'll look at each other and there's like all this history and like memories that come from this one thing we saw, and then we can just blow up laughing at it. I don't know. I do think that there's the history, the culmination of different times of laughing and all that tends to come together each time we laugh.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's my theory on the spot. I don't know if that's
I believe Robbie's theory.
All right. We'll write that one down. So what skill do you have? You know, often I ask the question, what's your superpower? But that one's getting a little played out in podcasts. People say, what's your superpower all the time? So I'm going to say, what's your skill or characteristic attribute that you're most proud of?
I have I'm pretty level headed. Like that took me a long time to get there.
Yeah.
I didn't used to be very
No, understood.
I used to be very
progressing, yes.
Oh yeah. In high school and sports, I would get so frustrated and so like furious when things weren't going, you know, the way that I thought that they should go.
Yeah.
I'd get so angry and just like, oh, why aren't we winning? Or why are we behind? You know, maybe that's teenage, you know, hormones also kicking in a little bit. But as I've gotten older, I've seen people get like frustrated or just, you know, frustrated with a person or a situation or something like that. And as I've gotten older, I'm just like, why does it matter? Like, just, you know, take a step back.
Does it really matter
that much?
Right. To get that upset.
Yeah. Just take things a little bit lighter. There's serious things in life where, you know, you do put your emotional intelligence and energy into.
Sure.
But for the most part, there's really no need for people to get fired up about a lot of things.
Yeah.
We can all get along. We're all human. People make mistakes. People get frustrated. And I think the best thing you can do is just be there to be the person who kind of like brings somebody down. And it took me a long time to get there. But other people have told me that I do that.
Mhm.
And I've never really recognized that in myself. And so
Mhm.
that's something that I've started to take some, some appreciation of, is when friends and colleagues and people that I've worked with were like, "Hey, you handled that situation like better than anybody I've ever seen." It's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was just trying to like, let's get
Problem
everybody on
solve,
the
yeah.
same page so that we can move forward. And it turns out that, that's people tend to get fired up with each other, and then that leads to a negative outcome.
Mhm.
It's like, well, if we can adjust temperament and get everybody to a positive outcome, let's do that. Let's do that instead.
Man.
And so I try to do that with myself, other people. My wife might argue that
Sure.
I'm not
Sure, sure,
always that
sure.
good at it,
Yeah, yeah.
but I try,
Yeah.
and I think that that's led to some really good things.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a great answer, man. I mean, we could spend 30 minutes on that because it's, first of all, what stands out is emotional intelligence, emotional maturity. I mean, those things are so powerful as we grow and mature in life, and I find the value in that more and more as I observe others who aren't progressing in that area. You
yeah,
know, someone
yeah,
who is 45, 50 years old, still just blowing their lid, you know? And it's like,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
like, holy cow, like,
yeah.
settle, man.
Well, and I think it's really easy to get, fired up in response because,
Sure.
you're like, what's your deal?
Right.
But then,
Right.
the thing that I always try to think of is like, I don't know what their day's been like. Like, I've
Yeah.
had those days,
Yeah.
those mornings, and it's like, I'm fired up today. But, this other person is coming from a completely different perspective and position.
Mhm.
Why should they bear the brunt of that if they're not a part of why I'm frustrated or
Right.
irritated?
Right.
And so I imagine that with a lot of other people. If, somebody's having a bad day, like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's very easy to be like, "Oh, that person was a jerk." And it's like, well, no, they're having a terrible day.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and it's funny to think how much of an influence you can have on that.
yeah,
When someone is
exactly.
in this like kind of vulnerable state, you can either perpetuate that exponentially
Yes,
or you can actually calm them down by not reacting to them.
exactly.
It's
And
really
maybe you
cool.
can turn their day around. And I've
Yeah.
had that happen.
Yeah, shift
I've
it in
had that
another.
happen. Simple as going to the grocery store checkout and somebody's just kind of snarky and mean,
Mhm.
and you come up after that
Kill them with
person and
kindness.
you just be really nice to that person that just experienced that from somebody else,
Mhm.
and just be like, they'll tell you,
Yeah.
like, "Ugh, thanks for being so kind. Like, you have no
Right.
idea how much that meant to me."
Yeah.
And, maybe they are having a bad day, and then people are snarky back, and that just amplifies the negativity,
Mhm. Then it
that they're
spreads
having in that
out
day,
into
and
the
it spreads. It
community,
just keeps
right?
going. So
Yeah.
if you can be that force that kind of puts the wall up and says, "Hey, all's good. Don't worry about it. Like, take your time.
Yeah.
We're good."
Yeah.
That
Go
changes things dramatically.
go take a beat.
Yeah, yeah. Like, people just, it comes to impatience when it comes to something not going exactly the way you want it to, especially if another human's behind it. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Think of the grand
yeah, you see it
picture.
you see it when people are waiting in lines, or when people
Or on
are
the road.
like, somebody's taking too long to do something, but based off of what expectation, right? Like,
That we're all supposed to just be
yeah,
seamless and efficient
yeah,
at every moment.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. And I think that that's carried over a lot into what I do now, and kind of how people are interacting with me is like, I want people to have a really great experience. And if they're frustrated, it's my job to make sure that they walk away feeling like they've accomplished something, they're fulfilled,
Mhm.
and not, let them walk away feeling like they didn't get what they needed. So it's kind of, I see it both ways. It's having that ability to see their perspective and understand maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they
Mhm.
need a little extra help, maybe they need a little extra time. I'm patient, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel like you got to trip over yourself,
Mhm.
to get to take care of me, or to like do what you need to do to get, to scan my groceries. I don't care.
Right. Right. Yeah, well, that's great, man. That is, and that displays, a level of growth and intention in your life because that doesn't come naturally all the time.
Doesn't.
We have to
Yeah.
work at that, and we have to see life in a lens as we grow and experience, and hopefully you get to a point where things don't matter as much.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
It's more of like, I'm glad I woke up today, you know?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, it's a gift to
It
even be
is.
here.
Yeah.
All right, as much as I'm dying to move into the kind of meat of this podcast, I have this other question that I'm excited to add that I wrote and I haven't asked this question yet. But I'm excited to ask you because I follow you on social media and I've seen a lot of the things that you use in what you're probably going to talk about here in a second. But my point is, I think you and I are very much on the same plane when it comes to movies and TV shows and humor. Is my guess. So my question is, if you were only able to watch one more movie in your life,
Ooh.
not like a million times, just, all right, you get one more movie and then you don't ever get to see a movie again, what would that movie be?
Christmas Vacation.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's hysterical.
Is that too fast?
No, it's phenomenal. I mean, that is one of my, I mean, I could do every line in that movie.
Same. I don't know what it is about it. It just doesn't get
so
old.
good.
Every time I watch it, it's like, oh, I forgot about that line, and I still laugh about it.
Oh my God.
There's actually like some tradition as well between my wife and I with that film.
Oh yeah, totally. Us too.
I
watch it every year.
Yeah, I have to fly home to Kansas every year for a holiday, whether that's Thanksgiving or Christmas. It bounces between the two of them every year. We watch it on the airplane ride every year. It's just the right amount of time.
I love it.
It's just enough. We set ourselves up, we watch it together, and that's like our holiday tradition. One of our holiday traditions is watching Christmas Vacation on a plane, and it's the best.
Beautiful. That's just beautiful,
yeah,
dude.
It's great.
I mean, Chevy, you know, I mean, we're from an era where Chevy was just legend, and some of those early movies are just classics. But Christmas Vacation was almost it danced between kind of old 80s and like 90s, and it's just that perfect.
It does. It fits in a window.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and it's a time capsule a little bit. Like
it really is.
It carries over this like 50s, 60s era into the 90s, early aughts era. That's like bridging this gap of, you know, old Christmas tradition and new Christmas lifestyle.
Yeah.
And like, it fits in this window of time that just feels like childhood a little bit.
It does. And he plays someone where I feel like I am right now. You know, I've got my old parents, I got my younger kid, you know, it's just perfect. And my favorite line of that movie is, "Can I take something out for you?" And then his laugh is just so good.
That's so great. My wife and I quote it all the time. It's like anytime, and this is one of those situations where we'll laugh about stuff. It's like, "And why is the carpet wet, Todd?"
Todd? I don't know.
I don't know, Margo. And you know, it's one of those things that it's kind of like permeated our own lives a little bit, and that's why I could watch that over and over and never see another movie again.
Great answer. All right. So the big question, and we'll dive kind of into your, call it profession, call it, I don't know, you can call it what you want, but let's say the question is, where in your life are you making a difference in the lives of others?
I'm still trying to figure that out entirely.
Yeah.
But
me too.
What I believe is doing everything that I can do to bring like joy and smiles and laughter to the world. So however I can do that, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spent a lot of time trying to build venture-backed startups and other businesses and things like that. And those were great. I've learned a ton doing those things. But they, like, at the end of the day, the things that would make me happy are things from customers or people that use a product that were like, this was the best thing ever, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, that feels good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want more of that. I want to do more of that for more people. And what has sort of like metastasized, I guess, in the past year, is this like mode for me to go and use this thing as a way to just make people smile and like make them laugh. It's been something I've done for 10 plus years, for my own satisfaction.
Yep.
It's just now like I feel like it's able to go out into the world and yeah, just spread joy and give people a moment of just like, this is fun. This is
Yeah.
great. I'm
Yeah.
like laughing. This is entertaining. This is joy. And that's what I want to do.
So tell us what the thing is. Like, are you a stand-up comedian?
It's a
or are you
the thing is a singing inflatable pumpkin.
Yes.
And as strange as that might sound, it's a thing. And I am an optimist. I like to believe in good. I like to think that like we can always get to a good outcome. I was more pessimistic about people actually buying into this than anything else I've ever done.
Really?
I just didn't think that people would gravitate towards it the way that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done this for years in my own yard, is bring this set of characters to life. And just to provide some context to it, these are animated characters that are in a space with you. So
Okay.
this inflatable pumpkin is right there in your yard, singing songs. His face is animated.
Mm-hmm.
It's alive. It's this thing you can touch. And I've done this for years, and it was always fun and very fulfilling for me when all the kids in the neighborhood would come over and they would just gravitate towards it. And they were out there dancing, and then the parents were taking videos, and everybody's just enjoying themselves. And it was so much fun to see this, like, these characters bring happiness to Halloween.
Yeah.
And, we have kids now that come up and ask me in the neighborhood. They're like, where are they? It's like Halloween. Like, where are the singing pumpkins? And where's the main character's Trick Ghastly? And they'll ask me, where's Trick Ghastly?
Trick Ghastly. It's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
And it became this thing that I did. And a while ago, I posted a TikTok for fun and didn't really do anything. And I was like, whatever, like no big deal. And then last year, I was like, you know what? I feel like short form video has like gotten to a point, like it's there. There's more people on this platform. Let me try this again. So I posted it again, and it went crazy. And I was like, oh, well, this is cool. Like, people are actually enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the pessimist in me was like, I mean, this is fun. I'll call some friends, see what they think. And we're all like, well, we'll do a couple more of these short little videos and these TikToks of Trick. And we did a couple more. And it's like people responded. They were enjoying it. They were like, this is hilarious. I come here every day for just a quick hit of serotonin or something. They want to feel that like happiness and joy.
Yeah.
And then people started asking, where do I buy this? I'm like, well, it's not a thing you can buy.
Yeah.
And
then ding dang.
And then it just continued to go and go. And the goal was never to sell a product. It was always just focus on the character. It's like, I want people, as many people in the world, to experience what I get to experience and what the kids in my neighborhood get to experience for Halloween. It's that happiness, that joy. It's not, murderers and blood and gore and scary
Horror
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the horror. it's fun and spooky and live, and it's this like living character that you can not really interact with, but like you get to see and be in front of, and he makes Halloween happy.
Yeah.
And it's more like a party and less like a corn maze where you're just trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. Like you're grabbing the candy and getting out of there because this place is a little creepy.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So what's next with it? Like, are you selling it now?
We're selling it now.
Okay.
I'm selling it now. My wife's helping out a ton.
And it's an inflatable pumpkin.
It's an inflatable pumpkin.
And there's a projection of its face.
Yes.
And it talks and moves and expresses, and you have a speaker that has sound close by, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, this is the beauty of it, is I love DIY for Halloween. And so the whole thing so far has been kind of made to where people can kind of make it what they want. They can't make custom stuff. It's all the stuff that, I make for Trick. It's his face.
Yeah.
And Trick Ghastly is the character, and you bring Trick Ghastly to life through whatever means you can. So that means a $50 projector, great. If it's a $1,000 projector, great. You get to choose. I'll give you the inflatable, you get the Trick animations, and you take it from there. I have people that have literally built sound systems with trigger buttons to change the music, to, amphitheater displays in their front yards with Trick at the center of it. And other folks that literally just put it up in their living room and their kids just dance to it.
Yeah.
And that's as far as they take it. And I think that that's part of the beauty of it, is you get to express your own like joy and happiness and what you want to bring to it for yourself. You don't have to it's not just like this thing, this product that you buy and put up and it's up and then you take it down and it goes away. This is a character that lives eternally through people's expression of what they want their Halloween to be like, and how they want it to fit into what they're doing. And so I think that's part of the beauty of it, is just, there's an inflatable, there's these animations that bring Trick to life, and then you take it from there.
Yeah.
Like,
so is it that when you say animations, is that pre-programmed, or can they choose like how
yeah, it's all
how far does that
pre-programmed.
go?
Yeah, it's all pre-programmed. A lot of people are like, in the TikTok comments, like, oh, this is a great use of AI. It's not AI.
Yeah.
I am doing all the work. This is human made.
Right.
Trick Ghastly is human made. He is not a machine.
Yep.
You can't stream a song from Spotify and he just sings it. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Everything's pre-made. And then we sell those as well as the inflatable.
Like a package.
Yeah. It's all just.
So how many options would you have?
We have 36 songs right now, 36 performances, full-length songs.
How do you choose those?
It's tough. Everybody wants
do you have
something
to pay
different.
copyright and all that?
There's a lot of that still in the works as far as licensing and copyright and all that. But we play by the rules. We do everything by the book in that regard, because I have a lot of respect for the music industry. I have a lot of ties to the music industry. And I'm really excited for this to keep going, because I think that music it's a core part of what this is. And I think that's, plays into, people's happiness and joy. It's like music is such a core part of, identity. And like what's your favorite song?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what's your favorite? What's your favorite song?
So music has been a part of my life forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there is absolutely no way I could give you one favorite song. There's just no way. Like, it's hard enough to give you my favorite genre, or my favorite band or anything like that. Like, what do I listen to most? Golly. And I don't want this to define me, but I listen to a lot of Rage Against the Machine.
All right. Yeah. Nice. I'm a huge Tom Morello fan.
Oh man, Morello. He's just, have you ever heard his on spot or on satellite? He has a radio show where he plays songs and all of his favorites, and
I've heard about
things
it.
he's tied to.
I don't have
It's
serious,
great.
but
It's great. Yeah, I mean, and there's no way that they're my favorite everything, because there's just, I can't narrow it down, but I really love Rage Against the Machine.
So imagine Trick
oh God,
doing a
singing
Rage
Bulls
against,
on Parade.
Exactly. Yeah. Bulls on Parade for Halloween. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
How heavy is that?
It'd be amazing.
That's fantastic.
I would put that in my front yard tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is this is part of that magic, is like, you kind of get to bring what you want or what you love to Halloween and kind of put those two things together in this thing that turns into like pure joy and just like, this is awesome. This is great. These are things that, people may not be a Halloween fan. And the reason for that might be because they don't like the horror.
Yeah.
They don't like blood and gore.
Yeah. Scary's not fun.
Oh my gosh. If you've got Trick Ghastly singing Rage Against the Machine, that changes things.
Sure. So, all right. So, will eventually you be able to play kind of what you want? Like, could you stream through?
Maybe someday.
I mean, is that like is that something you would strive for, or is there a reason why you wouldn't?
Yeah, technology isn't really there to do that. It can. Like, there's things that you can do to make things automated, but you lose out on the real, just expressive, emotional piece that comes from a human crafting it.
Okay.
And that's what makes all of this so special. You know, I've created other characters. There's Lester the Mummy, there's Gary the Ghost,
Ah.
Spooky Spice's Trick's love interest. You know, there's Spooky Spice's twin brothers, Kyle. You know, all these characters, there's other characters that haven't even been like publicly
Introduced
shown
yet,
in the
yeah.
TikToks yet.
I love it.
But there's this whole world that's kind of coming together. All of these characters are very expressive in their eyes and everything else. And so handing that over to a machine to do, it just doesn't make sense, because part of why they look so authentic and the reason you feel like you can, you know, this isn't just some weird robot, is because it's not a robot. Maybe someday in, you know, 10 years, if things get there, and that's a possibility, maybe.
Yeah.
But there's something really magical about knowing that a human's behind it.
Wow.
Crafting
cool,
this. It really is. There's a, you know, Pixar does the same thing with their films, and that's, you know, one of the things that always has inspired me is when I was a kid, Toy Story came out, and it was just like so captivating to watch these characters be so expressive, and just see that continue through films where inanimate objects became so expressive. Cars, Wall-E. These things have influenced me tremendously. I tried to get an internship at Pixar years ago. I didn't get there. But that's okay. I ended up where I ended up. And you know, that's something that I think that they do really, really well. Is everything's made by humans who know how to express emotion, capture that, and put that into a character where it really comes to life. And that's what I want. That's what I love.
Yeah.
And I think it shows in the way that people have responded to it.
Well, I love to hear that, man, because the first thing I did was, how can we take this to the top? You know, you know, and I'm sure there's part of that. You know, there's always, you know, fantasy and drive and growing things, but I love to hear. It just makes it so much more genuine and authentic to keep it man-made. It just makes all the sense in the world, and I didn't think of it that way. And I love to hear that the creator of this thinks that way. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jim Henson is a huge, like, I look up to everything that he's built. Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, The Muppets, all these things. And you think about all these characters, and, you know, that these are all humans behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why these characters just resonate so much with people, is there's a person that is essentially creating it. Their emotions come through, and it's just like acting, right? It's all acting. It's all, and a good actor or a good actress can really just draw you into something, and really make you believe the story. And that's why I'm very set on, you know, people get frustrated sometimes. I've had some emails and some messages that have come through that, you know, that people are very unhappy about the fact that they just can't play any song and it just does it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
No.
You know, maybe it'd be good if it does, but there's something really special about having a human behind it and being able to pull those things out that you just can't capture otherwise.
Last question. Would you ever take, like, how do you decide what to use? And, like, could you ever see your model shifting to a pay for request kind of thing?
I don't know. This is an internal struggle, because I'm a big believer in Trick Ghastly, the character. We have a lot of things in store for next year.
Okay.
Trick Ghastly has a backstory. He has friends. These characters are building their own world. We've been doing, like, you know, quotes from shows and songs and things like that, to try and figure out, you know, the thought was, will people be interested in dialogue? Does that work? And we were struggling. I was struggling to try and write, you know, the first bits of dialogue. So, like, I really don't know what this should be yet. And so instead I just grabbed some viral sounds and threw some viral sounds and had them, having arguments or,
Mhm.
from TV shows
Yeah,
and,
Schitt's Creek, Always Sunny, I've seen
exactly.
them.
Yeah.
They're hysterical.
And people love those more than they love the songs. And so
Right,
it was like, well,
right.
I guess I could have probably drawn that conclusion before getting into it, but it's one of those things where it's like I have to do it to figure it out.
Mhm.
And right now it's, we're going to keep making the song performances. We're going to keep doing that. Um, whether we change the model or not, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
That's TBD. Right now, it's really just we want to double, triple, quadruple down on Trick Ghastly is a character that comes to life for Halloween. Um, when you think of Christmas, what characters, what iconic things do you think of?
Yeah, I mean, well, Santa, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the Trick Ghastly of Christmas, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we want
Right.
Trick to be the Santa Claus of Halloween. We want,
The
you've
Easter
got
Bunny, yeah,
Frosty, the Grinch, the Buddy the Elf. You've got all these characters that are synonymous with Christmas. When you think of Halloween,
Clark Griswold. Huh?
exactly. Yeah. When you think of Halloween, you think of, Nightmare Before Christmas, Jack Skellington. Outside of that, every character is a murderer. Like,
Yeah. No, you're right.
like you've
Michael
got,
Myers,
yeah, exactly. I mean, Charlie Brown is probably the outlier there.
And he's more Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So, there's this like balance of trying to strike, what's the right business model that can fund our creativity. And this is, something that I read that Jim Henson struggled with a lot too, was how do we do things in a way where we can fund our ability to create more?
Mhm.
And if we can fund our ability to create more joy and happiness, then the joy and happiness will in turn give us more opportunity to fund more joy and happiness. So
Right.
it's
Okay.
sort of this balancing act of not going too far too fast and sort of putting ourselves in a position where all people expect is more performances to buy. If we find ourselves there, then we failed. We need to find ourselves in a spot where we can go places and do things with Trick Ghastly and the entire, his entire Boo crew to
The
bring
Boo
joy
Crew.
and spread happiness in the world.
Wow.
And we've got some things in store for next year that I think are going to help us do that.
Okay.
And you mentioned earlier, what's the impact we're trying to leave and
Yeah.
on the world. And last year was the first time we took Trick and the entire crew to a place called Holy Angels out in Belmont.
Okay.
And that's a place for folks who have disabilities. They live there. This is where they live. This is their community. And it was the first time we got to bring Trick to a place where people could just enjoy it. Other people got to experience it outside of just my neighborhood. And that was magical on a whole nother level.
Mm.
So now we're trying to find some inroads to do this. Can we bring this to children's hospitals
Yeah.
during the month of October? Can we bring this to events to do fundraising
Mhm.
for different causes? Like if we can continue to put some mission-oriented things behind Trick Ghastly and make Trick Ghastly a hero of Halloween and make Halloween happy, then we've succeeded.
Wow.
And if it takes, selling some product and making some songs to get us there, then that's what we'll do. But we're not going to lose sight of, what our overall mission is, which is to build this character, to make him an iconic symbol of Halloween, and just to continue bringing joy and happiness into the holiday.
Mm. Oh, Dave, that's good stuff. That's good stuff, man. I mean, it falls right into the question I asked, which was, how are you making a difference in people's lives? And, you can put that in a lot of different lights, but yours is in a very positive light and a traditionally, not negative, but shady.
Dark.
Dark. Yeah, we'll say dark. I was going to say shaded, but yeah. No, very dark. You're right. Horror. Yeah. So, man, that's very cool. Thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So my follow-up to all of that is, how can we help? How can listeners, how can we all support this?
Yeah, I think just share a video. Share
Yeah.
something that makes you
Okay.
laugh. Like that's the whole thing that we're trying to do is make content that you could share and send to somebody and be like, this made me laugh.
Mhm.
I hope you enjoy it too.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is I heard from my mom. She texted me the other day. She said, I showed your dad the Schitt's Creek one, the fold in the cheese
Oh,
bit that we did.
if you say fold in
He's
one more
never
time.
seen Schitt's Creek. He's never seen it. He has no idea what the context is
Yeah.
of that show.
Yeah.
So the people that do know obviously are laughing and enjoying it. He was dying laughing. Like,
And he had never seen the
He was
show.
like, my mom was like, he's over here crying, laughing right now, and he just keeps laughing about this fold in the cheese. And he's like watching the characters. I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. Even if you don't know who the characters are, even if you don't know what Trick Ghastly is about, and you don't know what the show is that we're quoting, or even if, once we get to some original dialogue and things like that, it doesn't really matter. If it makes you laugh and brings you just a moment of, you got a smile on your face, that's it.
Yeah.
We did a good job.
So where can we follow? Where's your biggest presence, and where do they go?
Biggest presence is TikTok.
Okay.
But on any platform, just look up Trick Ghastly.
Okay. Easy as that.
Easy as that.
Trick Ghastly. Trick spelled like trick, and then Ghastly Ghastley.
That's right.
Got
Which, by the way, little nugget here.
it. Bring it.
That is a play on Rick Astley, because Trick's first video was a Rickroll.
Interesting.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was Never Gonna Give You Up. For those that don't know Rickrolls, which I'm shocked by how many people don't know what a Rickroll is. That's okay. It's all right. But if you don't know what a Rickroll is, you're about to get Rickrolled. But it's Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. And just a classic internet prank of sending somebody that video and, misleading them into something. And the very first video was, I'm a giant singing pumpkin. And then it goes into the Rickroll. And that's what got people.
Is that the one that went nuts on TikTok?
That's the very first one that really got things going.
Yes.
So thank you, Rick Astley, for,
Trick Ghastly.
for creating something for us to go off of. And that's what gave birth to Trick Ghastly, but it just works.
Love it, Dave. All right. Well, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being a part of Everybody in Charlotte. And I appreciate you sharing all that you're doing to make a difference.
Well, thank you for doing all this. This is great that you're pulling people together and building community around, good stories in Charlotte, and trying to spread, people's stories and share that with the world. I really appreciate you including me in that.
You got it, man. Thank you.
I'm Dave Mason, and I am everybody.